Now I'll talk about some tambourine technique, okay? Now, much like I discussed with the shakers, you want to be very relaxed when you're playing them. The difference between a shaker and a tambourine is the tambourines are usually quite a bit heavier, right? So you definitely don't want to be exerting too many muscles or, and really getting your arm going. Sometimes if you're trying to really rock out with the band, you might want to do that just for a brief period, just as a visual. But you're going to get tired, especially in a studio session or something like that, where you have to really give her or take 5 or 6 takes with the song. So for me, when I play a handheld tambourine, I just obviously grab it where there's no jingles, and I'll find a comfort zone here. I've seen people play it all different ways, but for me, I like to hold it with my fingertips just on the top of the handle there, and rest the palm of my hand inside there. So it's pretty self-explanatory when you pick one up. It's just going to feel comfortable in your hand. Now, there's a few different ways. There's so many ways that we can play the tambourine and get some techniques out of it. But for now, if I'm just going to go back and forth, just using very little wrist and very little arm from the forearm. And that shouldn't be too tiring if that's the effect that I'm going for, just trying to get that back and forth sound. And the thing that you can notice, if you listen closely, you can hear the bells jingling. You can hear that, right? I'm not even playing it. And in most cases, you're going to want to tip it down a bit. As soon as I tilted it to that 45-degree angle, you can't hear those jingles anymore. So this is a little bit of a risky way to play unless you're just looking for that really big open sound. I have done some recording sessions where I've done this kind of a thing. Then you sort of let the resonance of the bells jingle afterwards. But in most cases, I will play on an angle like this, okay? And notice from the wrist, I'll come down, and you can hit your hand just as that stopping point, right? Right? But notice how you don't hear the jingles anymore. Just stops dead. So that would be the first thing, is you don't need to, get the full-on motion. You can say, just a foot or less, Don't go from the elbow, don't go from the shoulder, mainly from the wrist. Okay? Now if I was to play a pattern something like this, and I'll explain what this is. It's like 1 yen, to 2 yen, to 3 yen, to 4 yen. I'm almost swinging the 16th note there, but not quite. I'm liking to stop on that quarter note. 1 yen, to 2 yen, to 3 yen, to 4 yen. And when I do that with my hand there, it doesn't sound quite the same. It's different. It's not bad. It's just different. And you can notice that my wrist is almost like a drum technique. If I'm holding a stick, I'm just trying to play like 1 and 2 and 3. And like I said, the same thing as it applied with the shaker is the tambourine does this job because on the way up, I'm bringing my hand back for the next initial strike, and we're getting the jingle of the tambourine, right? So it's going to happen because you're getting the sound up and down. Take my hand away, it's a little trickier because I have to try to stop on that exact same spot. Sometimes it might take a little bit longer to find that groove or that pocket, but with a little bit of practice, it'll start to make sense for you. You guys will get that. So I would say that would be a very basic technique as far as creating either straight 8th notes or 16th straight 8s, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 4 and... So that would be one technique that I would use for tambourine.